Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the call. This is the Sisel Doctors Clinic call. We do this every Tuesday. It's noon Eastern time when we do it. That way, no matter where you're at, you can always remember noon Eastern on Tuesdays. That's when we do this call. And, really this call is to bring you a little bit of science so you understand the products. And I don't get real in-depth like Tom does because I think that, sometimes you hear the real in-depth, the scientific information, and then you think to yourself, oh, my gosh, I got to learn all that. And you don't. To be a Sisel distributor, to be successful in Sisel, I'll tell you what, the thing that you really need to learn is learn how to explain to people that the products are safe. Tom doesn't make any products that aren't safe to take, and learn how to explain just a little bit about the science, a little bit, of just simply how it works. And like I tell people, a buddy of mine, he sells windows, but when you're talking to him, you swear he sells views to the world. He doesn't sell windows, he doesn't sell glass, but he sells a view to the world. And that's what we want to do when we're talking about Sisel products. So a lot of times, the facts tell, but stories sell. And so on the doctor's call, instead of just always talking science and bringing you information, long words about science and talking about the ingredients, the extracts, things like that, what I like to do is bring testimonials on here because it kind of adds to the wow factor, and sometimes like I learned one Sunday a couple weeks ago when I was in church down in Colorado with a friend of mine, sometimes it's the ow factor that's more important than the wow factor. And so sometimes, some of the things that you're doing, you realize that, man, I've been doing it wrong. And that's what I call the owl factor. And so we really got to learn that and as well. But, last week we really talked about resveratrol, and we talked about Dr. David Sinclair's work, and we talked about how Harvard Medical really wanted to have that science. They wanted to own it, and so they actually brought Dr. Sinclair there, and then he sold out to a pharmaceutical giant, GlaxoSmithKline, and all that work was just basically pushed under the table, and then our friend and formulator for Sisel, Tom Maurer Sr., he went and retrieved that science and came out with Eternity. And Eternity is just a fantastic product. I remember when I first got started with Sisel, I was using a lot of Fucoid and a lot of Eternity with my patients, and I was those were my two. If you only got $50, which product would you buy? It was a toss-up between Fucoid and Eternity. And if you go back and listen to some of the early doctor's call recordings that I've done, you'll find that I really, really got to fall in love with Eternity because of the results that we were hearing and the testimonials that we were hearing from it. And so one day I was sitting with Tom Sr. out at his cabin one summer or one July, and I said, Tom, I said, if you had $50 and you could buy one product, what product would it be? And without any hesitation, he told me Spectramax. I looked at him and I kind of paused a little bit. I said, really, Spectramax, not Eternity or Fucoid? And he told me why. And I thought, holy cow! Now I got to decide if somebody's only got $50, which product would I recommend? Would I recommend Fucoid? Would I recommend the Eternity? Would I recommend Spectramax? And then all of a sudden, now here we are, 2 years later. And we've got the a.g.e pill, and we throw that into the mix. So now you got 4 products, and so I've really tried to do my science, my own research on it. And what I tell people is that now my decision is that the a.g.e pill has to be first. It has to be the hub. It has to be the spindle on that wheel that you're building when you're trying to get healthier. You want to start out with the a.g.e pill, and then you add everything to it. And I still really love the Eternity product. We talked about it last week. And I think Eternity works so well with the a.g.e pill because, this Eternity, if you listen to what we talked about last week, if you listen to some of the other calls that I've done on resveratrol, you'll find that it repairs a lot of the DNA. It repairs a lot of the damage because every day your DNA is being hit with, bombarded with let's call them missiles of damage, and weapons of mass destruction that your DNA is being hit with 10 times a day. And what it does is it knocks some of the sequence out of place, and it causes problems, or it damages one of the sequences, and so your DNA just won't work the way it's supposed to. And so resveratrol has the ability to fix that. Well, what fuels the resveratrol? Well, that comes from NAD. And where does NAD come from? Well, that comes from the ingredients that we have in our a.g.e pill. And so I tell people now, I'm like, I really believe the two products really work hand in hand. It's like that old commercial that Reese's Peanut Butter Cup used to do. Chocolate and peanut butter go good together. Well, that's what I feel with the a.g.e pill and Eternity, is that they go good together just like chocolate and peanut butter. And so those are my two products that I say you got to be on these because it's gonna repair any DNA damage, and that really is the key to longevity right there. And then you add the other things, because any chronic disease, inflammation is one of the components, and so you need the fucoidan, and then based on other Harvard medical studies, they've done 20+ year follow-ups on people where they found that people were deficient on essential minerals, and then they went back and they told these participants in the study, here's what you're deficient on, and then they went back and they restudied them 5 years later, 10 years later, and they found that now they were deficient on other essential minerals, and so only 3% of people actually get the essential minerals that they're supposed to get from their diet, and so that means the other 97% of us are missing that. So really, I don't think you can skip any of those products. So you're looking right there. That's the core. That's what I consider the core, and then you got to add the omegas on that too. So really, that's the 5 products. And then I was with Tom here a month ago, and he was talking about how 4 Restore works so well with the a.g.e pill as well. So you really have those 6 products. So bottom line is that the a.g.e pill is the start, and then you add everything to it as you can, and that's the key reason that you really want to learn how to share this with other people and build a little bit of a business, because otherwise it gets awfully expensive, and you can't afford to be on all the products. But if Sisel's paying you to be on all the products, then you're not going to have any problem with that. So that's another call. That's a different story. But Bill DeFalco, the man with the knowledge, I so enjoy talking to you. You always seem to have a lot of background on products. You've done your research just like I have, and you're a living testimonial. I mean, last week you shared with us that none of the men in your family ever make it to the age of 60, and here you are. You're at least 61, maybe 62 now. But Bill DeFalco, welcome to the call.
Yeah, Doc, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Let me just bring you up to date, Doc. I'm 66. Okay.
66.
And Doc, what's amazing that I lost just about 20 pounds since I came to Sisel 8 years ago. But I couldn't get below that 160-pound barrier no matter what I did. I just couldn't, no matter how much exercise and dieting I did. I couldn't break that 160-pound barrier until August 2nd when I started taking the a.g.e pill. Something happened that can't be accomplished with diet and exercise. my body started flushing lipofusion. Doc, I've lost 10 pounds since then, and I am now 150 pounds, and I have not been 150 pounds since I was back in my 30s. And you want to talk about absolutely amazing. And, oh, by the way, I want to compliment you because what a great lead-in to this call when you're talking about, things that go together, because I was just reading some of the updates on what's going on over there at Glaxo, and in the 5 years that they kept Searchers before they shut it down, they actually shut Searchers down. They moved the facility and actually relocated employees from the Massachusetts location to someplace, another lab they have in Pennsylvania. But during that 5 years, they definitely validated that resveratrol definitely does activate SIRT1, which is a very key gene that controls the way in which we age. And then they got into the NAD research. And what they're finding is that activates the rest of the sirtuin family. So now they can, what their studies are showing, that they're developing ways to activate the entire sirtuin family with a combination of what they've learned from the power of resveratrol and now NAD, as you just mentioned. So, I mean, this leads right into what we're doing here with the age pill, and what a wonderful compliment the Eternity and the age pill are, to work together, because I've recommended these to people based on my experiences on both of these products, and people are coming back to me and telling me, wow, I was getting great results with just the age pill, but now that I've added the Eternity, I'm feeling even better, and, my energy level's gone up even more, and I just overall feel better with the two of them together. So, what a great compliment, to have the two of them work together. Again, it goes exactly along with what you opened this call with. So you must be reading my mind, Doc. I mean, are you a mind reader?
I am. I'm into ESP.
I believe
not ESPN.
I really do.
Not ESPN, but just ESP.
Right, yeah, right, just ESP. But I tell you, Doc, I follow along, a lot of the things that you talk about, and and we're always on the same page of what we're doing together. We're in different organizations. We're side by side to each other, but I've never been in a network marketing company where I have had so much, I have gotten so much out of working sidelines with other people, other quality people like yourself, and I've never met such great people as yourself in any other company. This is just great that the company that this, the type of people that Sisel is attracting is really, the cream of the crop, and the opportunities we know is so massive. And you and I were at the convention, up on stage. In fact, we were standing together as we were going up to receive our 4-star Master Distributor recognition, and we were chatting there as we headed up there. And then you remember after we sat down, they introduced something for the first time, really exciting, the Millionaires Club, and we watched people being inducted into the Millionaires Club at different levels. And I think at that awards banquet, they inducted about around 24 people into the Millionaires Club, and starting with those who earned a total of $250,000 with the Sisel business, all the way up to a gentleman from Japan who earned $8 million in his 7 years with Sisel. And then Tom basically told us that what we just witnessed there was just the tip of the iceberg. Just maybe 24 people being inducted into a club that's going to have tens of thousands of members being inducted into it in the years ahead. And when you look at that and you realize that Sisel really has not even gone anywhere near its potential, we're just literally right now, after 11 years, in a position to go into a massive growth phase, a momentum growth phase that will be unlike anything this industry has ever seen before. You and I have been around. We've been around network marketing, and anyone who's been through this industry, we've seen companies, rise up, those that make it past the second year where most of them fail, and then the few left over that make it to their 5th year, and they go into momentum, and the momentum will last 24 to 36 months, and the game is over. And all the big money, the dynamics are over, and people move on to the next deal. But what we have here is so exponentially bigger than anything the industry's ever seen before. And I'm sure you concur with me on this, Doctor. I believe that the momentum growth phase for this company is going to last the next 10 to 20 years. It's going to be gargantuan. And what's going to, when you look at the outcome, tens of thousands of millionaires. In fact, Tom even said on a call that I had him on as a special guest speaker, he said that, to quote his own words, I believe when this is all done, we can create 100,000 millionaires all over the world with this. I firmly believe in it because of the results I'm experiencing that I've never experienced in any other products before. And it's not just me. but just hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that are, that are getting turned on to Sisel and discovering products that deliver results that have never been available before from any other nutritional products. We're talking about the world's most scientifically advanced products. And when you have a market that we're addressing that's that big, I mean, we're talking about a pie that's so huge, there's plenty for all of us to feed on. So it's great that we work together, because nothing would make me happy to see you get, hit that, that $1 million earnings mark. And I'm sure you feel the same for me. We want to encourage and work with each other, because your success is my success, and our success together grows the company. And so this is the vision I have, in that, as I mentioned before, never before have I ever had such a wanting, such a desire to team up with people sidelined to me. We all work together for the common cause to grow this company and attract more people, because we know at the end, the feast is going to be so massive. There'll be countless numbers of people at this feast, and it's going to take more than one individual to make it all happen. You and I know that it's going to take thousands of people like you and I working together. So that's the vision I have here. I'm sure you share that with me.
Well, and Bill, last week, getting into kind of the topic today, on the doctor's call, we really try and stay a lot with the healthcare related and testimonials on that. I know since you started taking the age pill, and I know last week I could tell you were chomping at the bit. You really wanted to get into your age pill testimony. I'm like, wait, save that for next week, Bill. And
right.
And here we are. We're back again, and everybody that was on last week's call, they're sitting there, they're sitting at the edge of their seat, and they're waiting to hear what with everything that happened with your resveratrol. I mean, holy cow! You just to kind of recap. I mean, at the age of 24, 25, you were told that you had some horrible heart conditions going on, and you were kind of heading down that same road that the rest of your family was on. Your doctors eventually put you on medication. That didn't seem to work. Your cholesterol and your numbers just kept going out of this world. 2009, and you knew about Dr. Sinclair's work. You tried different resveratrol, and you learned that why it didn't work was because resveratrol products they have to be formulated properly, and nobody's doing that. Nobody else is doing that. And then all of a sudden, 2009, Tom comes out with Eternity. It's formulated the right way. It's made the right way. It's manufactured the right way. And all of a sudden, your numbers are just fantastic. And you're having some great testimonials as far as your health. And then all of a sudden now the age pill gets introduced, just a matter of 4 months ago. Tell us what's happened to your life since July.
Doc, as you mentioned, I had spectacular results with the first, and still I firmly believe the only effective resveratrol supplement ever made. And again, this is the genius of Tom Maurer, who, his philosophy is I don't necessarily have to be first to the market with a product, but when I come out with a product, it'll be number one in its class. I mean, he did that with fucoidin. We have the purest and most potent fucoidin supplement in the world. Then he did that act again with resveratrol. He introduced the first resveratrol supplement that maintains the potency that his scientists found in testing all the other supplements out there, was depleted upwards of 98% by the time those products got to the end consumer. They were worthless products. When I came home with that, went to see my doctor, and it turned in that great, incredible blood test with the lowest cholesterol and triglycerides since I was 25 years old. Over a 32-year medical history, my doctor wanted to know what I did since I was there 4 months earlier. And I said, I asked him the question, have you ever heard of resveratrol? And I stunned him with a product that was unlike anything he's ever seen before. And now Tom's done it all over again with the age pill. And as I mentioned earlier, I broke the 160-pound barrier. I can't tell you how happy I am, how thrilled, how elated I am to be back at 150 pounds. I never thought I'd see this weight again, Doc. I'm 66. There's friends my age. They've got, they got a belly out to here, and they're carrying all this extra weight, and they try with their exercise and diet, but no matter what they do, it's kind of given up on trying to get back to the weight they were when they were young. And here I am, back at the weight when I was back in my 20s and 30s, and I haven't seen 150 pounds in over 30 years. It's amazing. But more than just the weight loss, Doc, what I've noticed is that you have to understand what's going on here. Most people, first of all, never even heard of lipofusion. when you mention it to them, they say to you, what, you mean liposuction? We say, no. We're talking about a cellular waste material that builds up inside the cells of our bodies, and the cells literally can't get rid of it, okay? You know, it's like you're in your office, Doc. You're in a little office cubicle, and somebody keeps coming in and dumping barrels of garbage in your office and closing the door. Next thing you know, you're up to your ankles, and then the garbage is up to your chest, and it's flowing over on the desk, and you can't even type on your computer keyboard anymore. And then finally, you can't even see your screen. You're kind of digging through the waste to try and I mean, you can't function. You can't work in an office like that. Our cells cannot function properly when they're all gunked up and when this waste material builds up. And you know, this lipofuscin, which if you go back 40 years ago, when the doctors of today were medical students, the educators back then, in the medical industry who were teaching the doctors of today, 40 years ago, their viewpoint on fucoidan back then, when life expectancy was around 60 years of age, they didn't have much of an opinion on it other than, well, it's a harmless buildup of waste material inside the cells. But over the years, as we've been able to extend lifespan, there's been more attention on, diet and exercise, and, people have really changed the ways that, there's been a great movement towards preventive health care. Of course, we're not nearly where we need to be, but Sisel is really helping lead the way for sure in that direction. But nevertheless, people now that they're living older, from 60, 40 years ago to like average age around 75 now, what they realize is that lipofuscin kept building up. It never stopped. People are living longer, so the lipofuscin keeps building up and building up. And finally, the medical establishment caught on to what was going on here, and they've done a complete 180. They have a completely different viewpoint on lipofuscin now. They now regard lipofuscin buildup in the cells of the body as a major causal factor in the degeneration and breakdown of vital tissues and organs throughout the body, including the brain. Let's talk about Alzheimer's, the eyes, and people with vision problems, okay? Vision degeneration, macular degeneration, deterioration of eyesight. We're talking about the retina. That's the sensor that picks up the images projected on it by the lens that our brain has to make some sense out of. Well, how's that retina going to work properly if the cells are all packed up with junk, with this lipofuscin? So not only have I lost the weight, Doc, but I can't put it in words. I can't describe to you how incredibly I feel now that, I've not only lost the weight, but I can feel my body's functioning so much better because all the gunk has been cleaned out of the cells. So they're working better. So my eyesight has gotten razor sharp. It's gotten incredibly sharp, including my night vision. It's unbelievable. I almost have like radar vision at night. And, my brain is working better. My energy is absolutely through the roof. I have so much energy, Doc. If I had a pair of wings on right now, I'd be flying around the room as I'm talking to you on the phone. I'm telling you, you talk
like
about
ATP
production.
Like that Red Bull commercial, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, literally. Well, Doc, we know what's going on. Right? We're boosting what? ATP production in the cells of the body. That's the fuel to our body. Just like jet fuel is fuel for a jet and gasoline is fuel for our car. ATP is the fuel that our body runs on, and a lot of people are suffering from low ATP. And
well, Bill, I want to stop you there because really, I'll tell you, the age pill. I've sat and I've talked to Tom for a couple hours on this. Out at his house, just recently. And he said that the thing about the age pill that we have to understand, and he's said this on a couple of calls, is that, the ATP, I mean, that's amazing, the NAD, that's amazing. But what he's discovered is that it goes beyond that. And what we have with age pill is it takes it even a couple steps higher than that because you start looking at the ATP, which again, for those of you that hate science, you hate biology, just like Bill said, it's the fuel for our body, but it goes beyond that because it's about hydrogen, but it goes even beyond that. And we start talking about electrical activity. And what the age pill is doing is not just building up the NAD and the ATP and the hydrogen, but what it's doing is it's stimulating increased electrical activity within our body, within our cells, and that is the most important thing that we have going on right now is that we have figured out how to actually build up that electrical activity. Isn't that just crazy, Bill?
It's unbelievable, Doc, because if you think about it, First of all, the brain, all the neurons, all the nerves in our body. It's an electrical phenomenon. The nerve system runs throughout the entire body. Of course, the hub is in the brain, but then from there, the network of nerves runs like cables, like a harness of wires through an aircraft, through the entire structure of our body. Okay, so we can feel, touch, sensitive, feedback. Anything that's going on anywhere in our body is immediately fed back to the brain so that we can take appropriate action or react to it or do whatever we need to, react to any stimulus or hot or cold. It's going to get my foot out of there. It's red hot down there, before I burn my toe. I mean, all of these functions are optimized because we're optimizing nerve transmission, because we're optimizing electrical activity throughout the brain. And don't forget, that's tied in with locomotion. Yeah, ATP sure is the fuel, but what actually is the locomotion fact that it makes the muscles contract? That's an electrical. I remember when I was in a laboratory and studying pre-medicine, we actually did electrical applications to muscle tissue in petri dishes. We can get the muscles to work just by giving them electrical stimuli. And so literally, you're right on, Doc. I mean, electricity runs the whole show here in our body, and by boosting electrical activity, that's probably why I feel like I'm flying around the room right now in a pair of wings because of the increase of the activity throughout my body. It's incredible.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes left of the call, Bill. Tell us, what kind of things have you noticed now? I mean, and I encourage everybody, go back and listen to last week's recording on the SiselDoctorClinic.com website and listen to Bill tell his story from last week. But, Bill, what have you noticed since July in your body? I mean, incredible energy. You feel like you're a jet airplane. You can fly from New York to California. But what else have you noticed?
Doc, I feel like I'm walking, like 4 or 5 feet off the ground. I literally feel like I'm walking on air. I can't put in words. I don't think there's adequate words to describe how great I feel. I mean, emotionally, it gives you a tremendous emotional uplift when your body's working properly and everything's working the way it's supposed to, and the cells are doing, what they're doing and in optimal fashion. Everything works better. I mean, in terms of I've become more musically inclined. I've been sitting down and banging out stuff on the piano, and I have it all recorded there because these passages. I mean, when you're in a great mood and you play music like I do, you're a musician like I am, and you get inspired by feeling good. And I think just feeling good by itself is a very healthy thing. You laugh more, you enjoy life more, you enjoy being with people more. You enjoy everything around. You enjoy just a beautiful sunny day. Go out and just take a deep breath, and your lungs are working great because you got oxygen flow. Red blood cells are optimized, taking that oxygen into your body. I mean, when you optimize the systems throughout your body, everything improves. Everything gets better. And for those of you who are new to this, you want to give this, depending upon your medical condition, you have to understand. I've been on Sisel's products for 8 years, so I do have an advantage, and I did start at age 58. We have people coming to Sisel in their 70s right now with lots of medical issues, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But trust me, you stay with these products, you're going to be amazed at how great you feel. And I had no doubt in my mind, your whole perspective on life will change, like it did for me, Doc. Before I came to Sisel, I was wondering if I was even going to be around to see my sons graduate from college at age 58. I thought 60 was going to be the end of my life. Here I am at 66, looking forward to living well into the 90s in a great state of health, looking forward to my son's wedding coming up in September 2018, and hopefully someday I'll be blessed with some grandchildren that I'll be in great health to be around with and enjoy for many years to come. I mean, Sisel has completely changed my outlook on life. You can't put a price on that. No matter what kind of money I've made here, that's great, but this is priceless, what it's done for my outlook, my life and my future. Unbelievable.
What have you noticed? One of the things that a lot of people are saying is that they find that they have better memory. Have you noticed any changes with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My recall, cognitive thinking, brain functionality overall, tremendously improved. Yeah, my memory's gotten really, really good in terms of, like if I wanted to, dial up a number, I used to have to do 3 numbers and go back and look at it again, then 4 numbers or 3 numbers. I couldn't get the whole thing in one glance. Now I could just glance at a number, bang, it's in my head, and even the access code, I can grab it all in one shot. I amaze myself because my brain started to get fuzzy after all the drugs and the medication I was on, and now it's nice and sharp again, and it's amazing, Doc. It's absolutely amazing.
How's your sleep? I'm just gonna keep asking. I'm gonna throw a couple symptoms at you that people are telling me about. Do you sleep better? Are you finding that you're sleeping good?
Doc, I sleep like a baby, and I know I'm going into REM sleep because I'm having great dreams. When you have good dreams, you're sleeping well. I wake up very refreshed. I have no problem. I used to wake up during the night, toss and turn. I sleep through the night. I definitely am going into a deep sleep. I wake up totally refreshed in the morning, ready to take on the day's challenges, ready for anything, and that can only happen with a good night's sleep. So I'm definitely sleeping much better, no doubt about it.
Excellent. Yeah, that's the whole thing is all the things that people start getting when they get older. I'm 55. You start noticing the decreased memory. You notice that you're not sleeping as good. And Harvard, they actually did a study, and they said that as far as like working with people with Alzheimer's and dementia, we can't make any medical claim, but we can say here's a study from Harvard, and so it's really cool. Now they're doing some studies at Harvard. They're saying that the ingredients in the a.g.e pill, again, they aren't studying the a.g.e pill. They're studying ingredients that are in the a.g.e pill, and they're saying that it might be the answer to chemotherapy-induced neuropathy. When people are on chemo, they end up getting that leg pain and that numbness in their leg, and they're saying the ingredients in the a.g.e pill might be the answer to that. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
I've heard stories like that, and actual stories, and people who have been using our products, they introduce them to their doctors, and the doctors have allowed them to take our products even before the a.g.e pill, just the triangle of life. And what we've seen is that people who are, they're on chemo and they're taking the triangle of life along with that, we're finding that they're not losing their hair, they're not getting sick to their stomach. It actually helps them tolerate the chemo, and the doctors are thrilled because they're seeing tumors shrinking at a record pace. So you can see how they're complementary, how they actually work. Just like I work with my doctor, my doctor and my cardiologist to get gradually weaned off the medication and getting blood tests all along to make sure everything looks good, and a comprehensive stress test at the end when I was completely weaned off the medication, and my doctor's not only approval to stay off the meds, but their actual statement of the fact that I've made a spectacular recovery from heart disease. Their exact words, this is what happens when you work along with your doctors, introduce our products, and they work together along with the regimen they have. I was able to work out a great, resolution of my heart situation that stunned everybody, my doctors, myself, my family members, everybody. It's just absolutely amazing. And now
Excellent.
I've taken it to the next level, Doc, with the a.g.e pill. Could it get any better than this? The next step is I'm going to walk right into the gates of heaven. I'm telling you, and come back and let everyone know how great it is there. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, Bill, thanks for sharing everything. And it's that time of the day where I got to call up the call. And I love hearing your testimonials. I watch you on Facebook, and I watch you sharing your stories, and it's just amazing what's going on. And we hear stories like this every single day. And to the people who aren't with Sisel, they hear these stories and go, oh yeah, I heard that from another company, but this and that, and they're naysayers because it seems like with any type of a network marketing company, you'll have people who they'll make up stories, they'll tell stories, and then they go and join another company, and all of a sudden they have different stories, or the same story with that company. But what I'm noticing here is that there's people who I'm giving the products to. They're not even part of the company, and they're calling me up like I had a call the other day, and they said we got to get more. It's and just the things that they were telling me. Again, they're in their 70s, and they're saying we got to get more, and it's not fabricated. These are real stories, and I just love that. And so when you hear Bill telling his story, this is 100% real. He can show you his lab tests from his medical doctors to back this up. And so I really like that. I like being part of Sisel because we really do have real science. So everybody, thanks for taking part of your day and being with us for the last half hour. Bill, thank you for being our guest again on the call. I really appreciate that. Thank you. You bet.
My pleasure, Doc. Glad to be here.
And for everybody that's listening to the recording, get back to the person that got you the recording. If you're not taking the product, go on the age pill, and don't just take it for for 2 or 3 weeks or a month and go, oh yeah. Sometimes it takes a little longer. I mean, I have people that they didn't notice anything the first 20, 30 days, but then 45 days into it, because they had so much of this lipofusion that Bill was talking about, that it took that long. It took that long to flush it out. Think of it like your oven. If you haven't cleaned your oven in 10 years, you're going to have to use a couple more cans of oven cleaner than for somebody who has a brand new oven that's cleaned out. And that's the same thing in your body. If your body's all chugged up with stuff, it's going to take a little longer. So I always tell people, make a commitment that when you get started with something like this, that you're going to make a commitment to 90 to 120 days, because I'll tell you what, 90 to 120 days, I'm seeing 100% of people are having testimonials. 100% of people are having testimonials. And so make that commitment. When you introduce it to somebody, ask them, just say, would you make a commitment to do this? Otherwise, I don't even know if I want to sell it to you, because I want you to get healthier. That's why we're sharing this with people. So everybody, thanks for taking the time. Bill, thank you for being the guest. Alan and DW, thanks for getting the recording out right away so we can get this out to people. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Have a